Fire Captain Engineering, situation critical.
All available personnel on the double. Spock with me.
Fire on the bridge. Systems failing, engineering reporting critical, all hands immediately. Now, hold that image for a second, because long before prestige television, before billion-dollar franchises, before streaming wars, there was a scrappy, half-understood series that nearly collapsed under its own ambition. And yet somehow, against budgets, against executives, and against logic itself, it survived, and quietly reshaped television forever. This is the real story of Star Trek. Not the polished myth, but the documented reality behind it. From 1966 to 1969, the show aired on NBC, created by Gene Roddenberry. It followed the crew of the USS Enterprise as they explored space while embedding philosophical questions into primetime television. Leading the cast were William Shatner as Captain James T. Kirk, Leonard Nimoy as Spock, and DeForest Kelley as Dr. Leonard McCoy. The sets were unstable, the funding was tight, the network wanted it gone, and yet it endured. So if you're into untold Hollywood production secrets, forgotten TV history, and deep dives into iconic shows, make sure to like this video and subscribe, because stories like this are just the beginning. Now, here are 15 verified, strange, and fascinating facts about Star Trek 1966 that explain exactly how it survived and why it still matters today. 15. Gene Roddenberry's final journey literally reached space. Gene Roddenberry spent his whole life thinking about space travel. After he died, that vision came true. In 1992, some of his ashes went on the Space Shuttle Columbia, STS-52, which went around the Earth and then came back. That mission was like a first test. In 1997, his remains were buried in space as part of one of the first commercial space burials. This was a big step forward. The capsule went around the Earth for 5 years before burning up in 2002, which made his body look like a meteor. Later events continued this trend. Richard Garriott, a space traveler, secretly took some of James Doohan's ashes to the International Space Station in 2008. They were then quietly put within the Columbus module. In January 2024, the biggest homage took place. An Enterprise flight expedition sent the bodies of Roddenberry, Majel Barrett, Nichelle Nichols, Doohan, and Kelly into a perpetual solar orbit. The franchise promised a future in space. It took decades, but it finally did. 14. All Lucille Ball ensured the show existed at all. It almost didn't happen during development before the series premiered. NBC executives turned down the first pilot, The Cage, from 1965 because they thought it was too complicated and hazardous for business. The financial leaders at Desilu Productions said that putting more money into the business could put it at risk. At that time, Lucille Ball, who co-owned Desilu, stepped in personally. Even though others inside the company were against it, she gave the go-ahead for a second pilot. This choice was very unique for the time. Television studios didn't often approve a second pilot after turning it down. If that approval hadn't come through, there wouldn't have been a series order and there wouldn't have been a franchise. 13. The Enterprise originally had a female first officer, Majel Barrett, as number 1, the ship's first officer in The Cage. The figure was calm, thoughtful, and in charge. NBC execs didn't like it. Their worries were founded on what they thought the audience would think, that people wouldn't accept a woman in charge, especially one who wasn't shown to be emotionally tender. Barrett's personal relationship with Roddenberry also caused problems within the company. The character was taken out when the pilot was turned down, but her traits were not thrown away. They were given new jobs. Number 1 gave Spock his most important traits: rationality, self-control, and intellectual authority. Spock was more emotional in the first versions. After changes were made, he became the controlled figure that people know. Barrett stayed in the franchise as Nurse Christine Chapel and as the voice of the Enterprise computer for a long time. 12. The interracial kiss triggered network concern. In 1968's Plato's Stepchildren, Nichelle Nichols and William Shatner kissed. NBC knew that there would be blowback, especially from Southern affiliates. The bosses told the crew to shoot different versions without touching each other. Shatner and Nichols are said to have ruined those alternate takes by purposefully making mistakes, like wrong timing, over-the-top faces, and broken delivery. Because of this, just the first kiss may still be used. The outcry that was expected did not happen. Most of the replies from viewers were positive. which suggests that the public was more open-minded than network leaders thought. 11. The Vulcan salute originated in a religious ritual. Leonard Nimoy came up with the Vulcan salute based on a memory from when he was a boy. He saw a rite called the priestly blessing while he was at synagogue in Boston.
Father of all we now hold true.
The image of Serac read in your face what is in your mind, Spock.
As I turned, and my eyes beheld you, I displayed emotion.
During it, Priest made a unique hand sign that stood for the Hebrew letter Shin. During the episode Amok Time, Nimoy changed this gesture for Spock. The saying, "Live long and prosper," is now known over the world, but the gesture that goes with it comes from a religious practice that goes back hundreds of years. 10. James Doohan was a decorated war veteran. Before he became an actor, Doohan was a lieutenant in the Canadian Army during World War II. He came ashore on Juno Beach with the 3rd Canadian Infantry Division on D-Day, June 6, 1944. He led troops across a minefield and took out enemy snipers. That night, he was hit by friendly fire from a Canadian sentry who shot him 6 times. A metal cigarette case intercepted one gunshot that was intended at his chest. He hurt himself in many ways and lost a finger. He hid the missing finger while filming by using camera angles and body doubles. 9. Fans prevented cancellation. Twice NBC wanted to end Star Trek after its 2nd season in 1967. BJO and John Trimble led fans in a coordinated letter-writing effort. Using a rule of 10 technique, each person got more writers to join. At the time, NBC got more than 100,000 letters, which was a record number. The network gave the show a 3rd season and asked fans to cease mailing mail. Fan action went on even after the final cancellation. Students at universities protested, and campaigns led NASA to call the first space shuttle Enterprise. Before the internet became popular, there were fans that were this organized. 8. Tribbles became a production problem. Hundreds of little props were needed for the episode The Trouble with Tribbles. About 500 were made out of foam and fake fur. Some had moving parts that worked like machines. The props weren't all put away after filming. Crew members were finding tribbles in costumes, equipment, and storage locations. Also, the cast and crew hid them on purpose as a joke. The famous sequence when Kirk is buried under tribbles had to be filmed several times, in part because the crew couldn't see clearly when they were dropping them. Some tribbles were later kept in places like the Smithsonian. 7. The theme song generated unexpected royalties. The theme for Star Trek was written by Alexander Courage. Roddenberry later added lyrics that weren't used to the song. According to industry norms, this made him a co-composer. Because of this, he got half of the royalties from the theme's use. The lyrics were never sung, but the way the law worked made sure they would make money for a long time. Courage didn't like the plan, and their working relationship got worse. 6. Spock's appearance nearly caused issues. Roddenberry first thought of giving Spock red skin. The effect didn't look right on black and white TVs, therefore it was dropped. Instead, makeup artist Fred Phillips utilized a yellow-green color. Even then, film processing specialists kept changing the color to a natural skin tone, thinking it was a mistake. Us NBC officials were also worried that Spock's pointed ears looked demonic and asked for changes to the promotional material. These worries went away when the audience reaction was good. 5. The communicator influenced mobile phone design. The flip-style communicator from the show established a visual influence for later technology. Martin Cooper, who was in charge of inventing the first portable mobile phone, said that science fiction, like Star Trek, had an effect on him. Motorola eventually introduced the StarTAC in 1996, which was a straight copy of the design. 4. The girdle rumor about Kirk is incorrect. People have been saying for a long time that William Shatner wore a girdle during filming. Shatner has always said no to this. The rumor probably started because of small changes in the actors' bodies over the seasons and what others in the profession expect actors to look like. There is no proof that the assertion is true. 3. Captain Kirk has an officially recognized birthplace. In 1985, Riverside, Iowa, said it would be the future home of James T. Kirk. Roddenberry agreed with the name, and the community built themed events and landmarks. The Star Trek reboot in 2009 verified Iowa as Kirk's home, which matched what the town had said before. 2. Beam me up, Scotty was never said. The phrase is widely associated with the series. However, no episode contains the exact wording. Variations such as "Scotty, beam us up" were used instead. Despite this, the phrase became embedded in popular culture and is often misattributed. 1. Martin Luther King Jr. Why influenced Nichelle Nichols to stay Nichelle. Nichols thought about quitting the show after the first season. She met Martin Luther King Jr. at an NAACP function, and he told her he was a fan.
Oh, on the Starship Enterprise, there's someone who's in Satan's guide.
He said that her role as Uhura was a big change for television since it showed a black woman as a professional equal on TV. He told her to stay. Nichols changed her mind and took back her resignation. Roddenberry agreed with the choice. Her continuing presence became one of the most important cultural parts of the show. Star Trek did not succeed because it was easy to understand or commercially safe. It survived through a combination of individual decisions, audience intervention, and persistence under pressure. Every element, from casting to design to cultural impact, faced resistance at some stage. And yet, the result is a franchise that continues to define science fiction decades later. Now, your turn. Which of these facts stands out the most?